Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're up dead early on another marvelous Monday. We're so happy that you can join us. My name is Mark Daniels.
And I'm Davriel Gardner, wishing a happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you all. I hope you had a wonderful, productive, relaxing weekend. Whatever it was, we're now ready for another week, ready to blaze through and get through to another Friday, right?
Absolutely. I had a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, how did that go?
It was very exciting. I got to spend a little bit of time at the Food and Wine Festival at Bahamas, which was very nice, and check out some of the demos by the Food Network chefs. And I'm a Food Network person, so that was really a treat.
That's good.
Yeah. And I also got to see Taurus Riley.
Oh, I feel like everybody was at the port at that Taurus Riley concert. From what I heard and from what I saw in all the videos, people had lots of fun. You know, he is a performer. He is a legend already, a classic entertainer. So congrats to the organizers. And for all y'all that went out there, I low-key jealous.
I will say, you know, I'm very impressed with Taurus Riley's performance, and every now and again, it's really hard to find an artist whose stuff is, you know, my husband, he was like, oh, I see all these people from church. I'm like, Taurus Riley is gospel adjacent, you know? Very positive, very, very good, beautiful music. So It was really nice.
Remind me that good old lovers rock. That, you know, that music, you take your special one out there. Even on a first date, it's still a comfortable environment. I saw lots of couples out there. Hey, if you didn't know, it was a super moon this weekend. So,
makes sense.
Careful. We'll talk to y'all in July. We got a great show coming up. But guess what? Clocks are going back again, right?
I didn't even realize.
Like, what is that even about? I thought we decided we're going to stop doing that.
I realized that we discussed it, at least in the Western Hemisphere, but I guess we
don't need to.
changed
So I guess
our mind.
we got one more week until we're confused about what time it actually is. But until then, enjoy the nice dark mornings and the nice cozy evenings, right? Or I guess you have more time in the evening to work out and do what you got to do. Well, we got a great show for you today. Thanks again for being with us. We're going to be talking with Dr. Pinto about life-threatening urinary tract symptoms in our urology care segment. And we'll also be talking to Doctors Hospital about the importance of mammograms.
We're also going to discuss issues that affect developers when local communities oppose them in our economic pulse segment. And we'll find out about what's happening at this year's Red Ribbon Ball. TCL invites you to attend our Long Island Business Outlook coming up Thursday, November 16th. We'll be discussing a bold vision for Long Island. Registration is $80. Students and virtual guests can attend for $50. Register now at tclevents.com. But for now, we'll have our first check on weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by NUA, the hands-on agency.
That'll be troughing across the southeastern outlets, and that's causing some showers and lightning thunderstorms in that particular area. So today, we look at a mix of sun and clouds, a bit breezy, a little warm. We expect a few showers, maybe like a thunderstorm, maybe across the central and southeastern islands. High temperature 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Tonight, partly cloudy and mild, with a few nighttime showers over the central and southeastern islands. They look good at 76 degrees Fahrenheit. And some regional highs and lows sky across the Caribbean, Barbados 89 to 80. In Jamaica, 89 to 77. In Trinidad, 88 to 77. And the Texas Trinidad is 87 and 77. Across North America, Atlanta, 82 to 64. In Boston, 65 to 42. In Miami, 84 to 77. Dallas, Texas, 49 to 43. And Toronto, Canada, 48 and 36. As you go to the week, the troughing will move up from the central southeastern island in the northwest Bahamas, but we have a cold front that will move into the area sometime late Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and that's going to elevate rain chances and likely thunderstorms. Also, based on winds, much more becoming very windy over into the weekend. Temperature daytime will be in the mid-80s in daytime, at nighttime in the lower mid-70s. That's the trap for Central Weather Sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Mark.
My mic working? Thank you, Godfrey. If you've been paying attention to our urology care segments, one of the key points is that everything is treatable. You just got to get there early, right? So we're here to talk again with our good friend, Dr. Pinto. There's some urinary tract symptoms in men that can increase our mortality risk if left untreated, and we don't want that. Dr. Pinto, welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
It's a great pleasure to be here. Good morning to the nation, and good morning to my daughter, Gia.
Yes, she is up early as always.
Yes.
Good morning, Gia. So let's talk about this. Urinary tract symptoms that are left untreated increase the mortality risk in males, I guess, and women as well. Let's talk a little bit about that.
So everything in our bodily systems are interrelated. When we talk about benign prostate hyperplasia, which is a non-cancerous increase in the size of your prostate, it's an inevitable part of getting older. It's nothing that's related to diet or lack of exercise. It's just an inevitable part. As we live longer, we want to be aware that there are consequences to that. So that's an enlargement of your prostate. So it's estimated that 50% of 50-year-olds, 60% of 60-year-olds, and by the time you're in your 70s, maybe 80% of men have a non-cancerous enlargement of your prostate. What is the consequence of that? You're going to be peeing frequently, urgently. You're not going to be emptying your bladder. You're going to have a weak flow. You're going to wake up all throughout the night. You're going to live your life. Where's the next bathroom? You're going to be afraid to have a glass of water. All of a sudden, it's going to be your norm that you have to pull over to the side to urinate, and have that indignity of your friends and neighbors seeing you do that. Every time you're in a business meeting, you got to excuse yourself every 15, 20 minutes because you need to urinate. So it obviously is going to cause a deterioration in the quality of your life. It's going to take away your happiness, your self-confidence. It's going to affect you socially. It's going to affect you professionally. But it also can affect you in terms of your own outlook, in terms of not only your longevity on this earth, but the quality of years you have on this earth. So we just look at it in terms of getting a good night's sleep. Just for your cardiovascular health, you want to try to get 7 hours of good sleep. If you're waking up 5 times in the night to urinate, obviously you're not going to get that. You're going to be fatigued. You're going to be irritable. You're going to be prone to depression. You're going to be drinking coffee all day, and caffeine is a diuretic, so you're going to cause yourself to pee even more frequently.
So if this has been your norm, at what point do you say, this is enough, I need to go get this checked out?
You know your body. So many cases, it's the wife who's getting annoyed. She's being woken up 3, 4 times, 5 times in the night, because when you wake up to urinate, she has to wake up as well. So that even causes marital strife. Men have even gone to the point where they can't even bother to wake up. They have a little jug on the side of the bed to urinate. You know that's not right. That's taking away your dignity. That's taking away, deteriorating the quality of your life. If you have to drive around with a container because you can't even pull over to the side of the road to urinate, obviously something is going wrong. If every time you walk away from the toilet, you're leaking a little bit of urine into your underpants, you're feeling like you smell like urine, it's affecting your self-esteem. Right. Obviously you know something's going wrong. So the problem is, men know that there's something wrong. They know they're not emptying their bladder. They know it's causing a deterioration in the quality of their life, but they don't want to seek help.
So how do we get this treated? How do we get to that? What's the first step when they decide, you know what, I'm tired of this, I need to get help? What do I do, and what are my options?
Medical options are wonderful. You can start on medication that in many cases you can go from waking up 5 times in the night to once. You can have a strong flow like a 20-year-old. And in many cases that medication will be very effective for many years. Your prostate will continue to grow as you get older. It'll reach a point where the medication in many cases becomes ineffective because the prostate has reached a significant size. But even then, we can do minimally invasive procedures that can be done as an outpatient with no cutting, no stitches, no recovery, no pain afterwards, and you can go from waking up 10 times in the night to urinate to waking up no times just by reducing size of your prostate to an 18-year-old so you can urinate like an 18-year-old. Right. And that brings me on to, in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to be bringing out a green light vaporization of prostates, which is another minimally invasive procedure that's going to be offered for the first time in the Commonwealth of Bahamas at Doctors Hospital. I'm going to roll that out. Fantastic. So that is another way that we can reduce your size of your prostate as an outpatient procedure, no recovery, and you can turn your whole life from darkness to light in terms of your urinary symptoms.
You'll be peeing in the wind in no time.
Yes,
right?
exactly that. Exactly.
So is there any correlation between having a swollen prostate and prostate cancer? As time goes on, you say that, our prostate's naturally enlarging. So if you don't get it treated, does that lend itself to increase your risk for developing prostate cancer?
Not specifically. There's no direct correlation, but a lot of men are not going to seek help because they're afraid they have prostate cancer. Statistically speaking, if you have urinary symptoms, it's related to benign disease that every man is going to face.
Right.
Prostate cancer is the number one cancer in this country, so you should be getting annual surveillance, and I always preach this, every single year from the age of 40. But if you're afraid to seek help because you think you want to live in ignorance, you're afraid that me waking up, me not having a good flow is because of prostate cancer, statistically, it's more likely it's benign disease that affects all of us. So don't make that a fear that stops you from seeking help. And it could be have a negative impact on your life. You can go into renal failure. If you're not emptying your bladder, you can have back pressure on your bladder, you can have irreversible changes to your bladder. Your bladder can lose its ability to contract, you can lose your ability to feel when your bladder is full. You have back pressure on your kidneys, that can lead to kidney failure. There are dozens and dozens of men in this country on dialysis because they didn't listen to your body. They allowed you the back pressure on your kidneys and they develop kidney failure.
Are there any lifestyle changes that can help to reduce the development of these benign
enlargement of the prostate?
prostate?
It's inevitable. It's inevitable. So obviously you want to have active lifestyle, exercise 3 times a week. You want to have a well-rounded diet. You want to make sure that you have a normal body mass index. You don't want to be obese. So that will help in terms of just every bodily system, including your urinary system. So you don't want to overdo it in terms of fluid intake. You don't want to overdo it with diuretics, which include alcohol. As a nation, we as men, we need to reduce our alcohol intake because of the negative impact it has on our life, and including on our urinary symptoms. We want to reduce our caffeine intake because that's going to cause us to pee too frequently. Obviously 1 cup in the morning, 2 cups in the morning, and actually has beneficial effects because of the antioxidant effect and everything else. But you don't want to have to drink coffee every hour just to get by because you're not sleeping at night because you're waking up 10 times in the night to urinate. So listen to your body. There's a link between a lack of sleep and your cardiac health. You need 7 hours of good night's sleep. So for whatever reason, if you're not sleeping, for most men as they get older, it's because they're urinating throughout the night, or they're afraid to even have a glass of water after 6 o'clock. They're going to bed dehydrated. That in itself can cause problems like developing kidney stones. Listen to your body. Do not have fear in your heart. You need to get annual physicals every single year. If something's not right with your body, you're the first one to know.
Are there any other symptoms we should be looking out for, just related to your urinary tract as men, that might be pointing towards some other condition that should be treated before it gets too far along?
If you're having a urinary tract infection, if every time you urinate you're burning, if you have foul-smelling urine, in almost all of those cases it's because you're not emptying your bladder. Why do most men not empty their bladder? It can be related to diabetes. Diabetes can affect the nerve, the blood supply to your bladder. That can cause you to have what we call diabetic cystopathy, or in many cases atonic bladder. The nerves are not functioning properly because of the diabetes that allow you to empty your bladder completely. But statistically speaking, again, more than likely it's related to a benign enlargement of your prostate. So if you're not emptying your bladder, if you're having burning when you pee, if you're always on antibiotics because you keep getting urinary tract infections, men should not be getting urinary tract infections. They have a very long urethra. It's difficult for bacteria to get from the outside all the way down in. Women are different. They have a very short urethra. As antimenopause in particular, they're going to be at risk. Anatomically, they're at greater risk of developing urinary tract infections quite frequently. But men, if you keep getting infections, giving yourself antibiotics or being prescribed antibiotics or borrowing your cousin's antibiotics every month is not the way to go. Let's figure out the root cause of why you keep getting infections. Most cases because of benign hyperplasia, or it might be because of diabetes, or it might be because of hypertension. Waking up in the night could also be a sign of your blood pressure is not being well controlled. It might be a sign of you have obstructive sleep apnea, which can have a deleterious effect on your health in many ways, lowering your testosterone, making you fatigued, making you put on weight.
All of these things. Nobody wants to be living this way. And if you have these symptoms, please remember to check out Dr. Pinto. You can find him at Urology Care Bahamas and at Doctor's Hospital as well.
And Princess Margaret
And
Hospital.
at Princess Margaret Hospital. Look out for Dr. Pinto, our good friend of Mamas at Sunrise. Thank you again for being here, giving us all the information we need as men to get ourselves checked out. I guess everything is treatable. Thanks again for being here.
I appreciate it.
You're watching Mamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
Hey, Mom, can you look after Kaylee?
Sorry,
I'll be out for a while dealing with my home and car insurance.
What? You know there's a newer way, right?
A new way?
Where have you been? Look, go to newerinsurance.com, log in, get your quote, buy your insurance, done. You can even use it to manage a claim.
Oh? By the way, it's not newer. It's N-U-A. Where's she been?
Do it anyway with NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers.
The push-to-talk device is a beautiful device. It operates on our world-class cellular network. You can take pictures, you can take videos, you can put your persons in different groups. If they want the engineering team to have a different communication than the finance team or the security team, you can do that with the push-to-talk device. And that's not something that you can actually do with a regular communications radio device. We have several different types of devices. There's the 380, the 580 plus, and then there's the 590 plus, which is the top of the line device.
Meet Leno, your bridge to the future. Wealth planning, investments, corporate services, trust services, pension administration, fund administration, outsourced accounting, and payroll. When you think of financial solutions, think of Leno. Local or international, company or individual, Leno can help. Our team of skilled professionals has the experience and expertise needed for you to strive. Your goals are our goals and our priority. Leno will guide you to the right financial solution with the knowledge, resources, and support you need. Give us a call at 242-396-3225 or email us at info@lenobahamas.com to get started. Visit our website www.lenobahamas.com for more information today. Leno, your bridge to the future.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station. Open the app, scan the pump's QR code. Select your payment amount and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Welcome back. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that is next month. Today, we're going to explore different types of breast cancer screenings with our next guest. Alexis Burrows, Marketing Director at Doctors Hospital. Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
I feel like you're a regular on the show.
Pretty much. There's always something going on.
we need to give you a segment. All right. So what is the purpose of imaging services as it relates to breast cancer?
Okay. So, when you go to your physician during your annual things like that, a lot of times, they will talk to you about doing self-examination, which is obviously the starting point that, as physicians, I think would be the intended starting point. You get familiar with how it's supposed to feel, what feels out of place, and then kind of continue that conversation. When you move beyond self-examination, then obviously you move into the space of screening. So imaging services, there are a number of different ways that you can have screening done. Obviously, the starting point for most women would be a mammogram, and that's the service that we're offering at a discount during the month of October. So that is the starting point for most women outside of self-examination for just making sure that there's nothing going on, or to if it is something going on to detect it early.
Absolutely. Which of the Doctors Hospital Health System locations offer options for people to access?
So as it stands for our imaging service for the mammography, that's currently offered at our main hospital on Collins Avenue. We have some things in the works for expanding our imaging suite of services in terms of locations. But as for now, that is the primary one. Obviously, I think we have eyes on providing mammo in Grand Bahama, and then we have something else that I'm not sure we're able to speak about just yet, but we are looking at expanding the availability of all of our imaging services, both in New Providence and in some of the Family Islands. But for now, anyone who's looking to get their mammo done in October, it would happen at the main hospital.
Speak to the caliber of the technicians who run your lab.
So we have, I would say, the best and the brightest technicians. We we hire people who go through very extensive training, and obviously they have a lot of experience in working in our space as well. I know in the last 2 or 3 years, especially during October when there's such a light shown on breast cancer awareness, we have been booked and overbooked with mammography. So obviously, you know, you have a ton of women coming in and out every day and having screening done, so you have the opportunity to really, you know, get that depth of experience. And as you go through that, your ability to kind of pick up on different things expands, because the more you see, the more you get to say, well, I remember this kind of looks like something that I've seen before, and it becomes a point of reference. So I would say, you know, our staff, our associates, especially in that space, are highly trained. They are the best and the brightest, and I think you can feel comfortable when you come into our environment that you're going to have people who are able to, you know, guide you through the process, not just from a standpoint of the technical expertise, but they make you comfortable. They make you feel, you know, at home and welcome. I imagine mammos for women can kind of be, you know, a dicey proposition. You might feel uncomfortable, but I know from what I've heard of, you know, seeing comments and seeing experiences, obviously on the marketing side, you kind of see some of those things come up. You know, it seems like we really do have that ability to make people feel welcome and comfortable with the overall process as well.
Which is so important, you know,
Definitely.
for a procedure like that.
Definitely.
Something else, I guess, just insight or education when it comes to procedures like these. Sometimes people throw around terms and you don't know what they mean.
Right.
When it's said that a woman has dense breast tissue, what does that refer to?
So what it means is that the tissue itself in the breast is heavier. It takes up more physical space, and so it's not necessarily the size of the breast itself, but it's actually the tissue within. And so what happens is, if you have a woman with dense breast tissue, the mammogram itself may not be able to detect if something is going on. So you would have then the option of an MRI, which obviously would be, you know, going a more in-depth scan to take a look at what's happening in the breast and see if there is something growing, something that's going on that may be untoward. So that's really what it means. Typically, if you have a woman that has breast dense tissue, it just leads into a different type of scanning for things like breast cancer.
You kind of touched on it earlier, but talk about the importance of early detection when it comes to breast cancer.
Right. So anybody who is familiar with, you know, the staging of cancer, you know that as you get further and further along without detection, you know, you have a harder time managing the disease, right? So early detection is critical, as with all things in health, right? The earlier you find out, the more that you can do to either, you know, arrest it or to prolong life, even if it has already gotten to a certain point. So with early detection, and this is why, you know, even before coming in to do a mammo, there is such an intense focus on, you know, encouraging women and educating them on how to do self-examination, because the earlier you detect it, the better chance you have at warding off the disease, right? We know that in our environment, in our country, we have the BRCA gene, which tends to have, you know, a higher rate of incidence for women to have breast cancer when you have that prevalent in an environment. And so you have that as a point of concern. Obviously, we know by the numerous support groups and other organizations that exist around breast cancer, it is something that, you know, you want to be able to know as early as you can, so that way when you get into the fight, you're able to fight it off as best you can. Because obviously cancer is something that can spread and can do a lot as it gets further and further on in staging. So it's much better to catch it at the stage 1 than at even a stage 3.
Absolutely. And what promotion is Doctors Hospital offering as it relates to mammograms, breast cancer?
Right. So obviously October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So beginning in October and actually running through to the end of the year, so from October 1st to December 31st, we are offering a 50% discount on self-pay patients for mammograms. So you would pay $60 to get your mammo done. And if you're an insured patient, your copay is waived, so you pay nothing. All right. And like I said, that promotion runs from October 1st to December 31st. So we actually we've pre-extended the promotion again, and that's based on kind of seeing what it's been in the last few years. Yeah. We've had to do this before, where you get towards the end of the month and you still have women calling saying, hey, I didn't get a chance to get it in on October because you guys were fully booked. And then we roll it over. But we've taken the initiative to say, no, we're going to run this promotion from October straight through December to give as many women as possible an opportunity to come in and get the scans done and get, you know, if they find something, to be able to get ahead of the disease.
That is so important. You don't want costs to be prohibitive when you're pursuing your health, which is
Definitely.
most important. And speaking to discounts, does a LAMP membership affect this cost in any way?
Right. So because of the discount that we're applying, LAMP does not apply to this, but obviously depending on the outcome of your scan, there may be additional services that you may need. You may need to have additional scans done to further verify, things like that. So obviously the LAMP benefits that apply throughout the rest of the hospital will then apply in that instance. But, you know, like I said, we're offering a 50% discount and we're offering a full copay waive for insured patients. So it doesn't necessarily apply in that instance, but if you have the need for additional care that comes out of your findings, then the ways that LAMP apply will then kick in terms of prescriptions, other imaging tests, that sort of thing, lab tests and so on.
Well, I want to say congratulations, sort of, and good on you for providing a promotion or a discount for a service that is so important and so important in particular to our community.
Definitely.
And thank you for joining me to tell us about it.
Glad to be here.
And thank you for watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
One thing, two things, new thing, old things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
Good morning and welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're here dead early on another Marvelous Monday, and we're at the mid-show on a Marvelous Monday. Thank you for sticking with us. My name is Mark Daniel.
And I'm Davrielle Gardner, hoping that you're having a happy Monday.
A happiest of happiest Mondays. The month is drawing down. It's the end of October already.
The year, like here we are. We're about to literally hit November and then Christmas.
Oh yeah, and you know what? You can tell. I keep saying it. Junkanoo practice, man. When you ride around this island on Sunday nights and nights throughout the week, and Junkanoo practice ringing off, man, I just love that sound. And just you could just see the energies picking up. The dancers, they in sync.
We're together for the Christmas, as we Bahamians say, and we, my family is already talking about whose house are we going to be at? What are we going to cook? I'm like. And 2023 is almost a wrap.
Well, you reminded me now I need to pre-order my Tupperware for the
toting.
annual tote.
The toting Olympics.
From breakfast to brunch to lunch to pre-dinner to dinner to the after dinner. You got to be toting heavily. You got to be prepared. Thanks for sticking us. We got more coming up in our second half. We've got Karlos Mackey here, and he's here to give some advice to developers when communities find themselves in opposition to some of these projects.
And we'll find out about what's happening at the Red Ribbon Ball, which is happening this Saturday. But before all that, we're going to take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at Sunrise, brought to you by NUA, the hands-on agency.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather sunrise, the trip around the tropics and the morning two systems at this time. We do have a broad area of low pressure located a couple hundred miles east of the central Bahamas. Showers and thunderstorms associated with this system. But over the next 7 days, you have a medium of 40% chance of tropical cyclone formation. And then we have a broad area of low pressure that could form in a few days over the central or the southwestern Caribbean Sea. To America, formation chance over 7 days is 30%. On the local scene, the area of low pressure to the islands, trigger off a trophy across the islands, so in the central southeastern islands, we're looking at some showers and a possible thunderstorm. In the northwest Bahamas, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds with a couple of showers possible. In the marine forecast, Wednesday northeasterly at 10 to 15 knots, 3 to 4 feet northwest Bahamas, light and variable, breeze 3 to 5 feet for the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds are going north and northwest at 10 to 15 knots, 3 to 5 feet northwest and central Bahamas, light and variable, 3 to 5 feet on the southeastern islands. The Barnett winds northerly at 15 to 20 knots, 3 5 to 8 feet over the northwest Bahamas, 10 to 15 knots, 3 to 4 feet on the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a high tide at 9:26 next morning. Your next low tide will be 3:55 this afternoon. High gain tonight at 9:45. Sunset 6:30 evening. Rises tomorrow 7:16. UV index 8. Your water temperature 84 degrees Fahrenheit. And your moon phase full moon. Stand outlook. The cold front should move in here late Wednesday into Thursday. And that will increase our showers and probably thunderstorms along with it as it moves to the northwest Bahamas. And behind that system, we're going to get some breezy conditions once again, and some hazardous marine conditions, and a light cool down. But for the most part, we'll be looking at a mix of sun and cloud into Wednesday. We'll have increasing cloudiness, showers and thunderstorm, and breezy. Temperature daytime will be in the mid-upper daytime, at nighttime in the mid-70s. After front passes, we're looking at the low 80s at daytime and the low 70s at nighttime. That's what's running forward to go at sunrise. I'm about to go inside. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Godfrey. Over the years, there have been various developments that have proposed projects for our communities that may not have been welcomed warmly by local residents who will be directly affected by that project. What does a developer do when they find themselves in these situations? This morning, we're talking with Karlos Mackey. He is the Executive Director and President at Moneymax. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Mark, it's always a pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, so here we are, man. Always good talking to you. You know, development is a key part of a country's development, not to use the word again. How do we find that balance between what a client or a project owner has as its vision and what that local community sees as something they want?
Well, I think one of the things we have to realize is that communities are more than just buildings. There is an aesthetic that makes a community, and there's also what I would call a social fabric that makes a community, right? So if you're a developer, you have to be conscious, very conscientious of that, and you have to make sure that your project aligns with whatever the aesthetic and the social fabric is of that community. One of the things I don't think that we do well is that we don't probably do a lot of long-term planning for how our communities are going to look, how they're going to feel. But communities and cities are organic spaces, and you have to be very careful that you're not going to disrupt, like I said, that aesthetic, that feel of a place. Because if you do, if you're perceived that your project is going to do that, there's going to be a lot of pushback.
You've heard this term around public engagement, public consultation, stakeholder engagement. How does a developer properly engage in this type of engagement with stakeholders to ensure that a community feels involved in a project?
Well, I think one of the things that we have to do a better job of here, particularly with regard to developers, is not, I would say, going all in from a risk perspective. I think one of the tactics that's been used by developers is to say, you know what, I bought the property and you cannot put me in a bad economic position. Well, to be honest with you, you would have made a bad economic choice. There are ways such as escrow agreements that you can limit your risk, where in the event that you don't get approval, you can back out of the deal. So I think that's one of the first things that developers should be doing. First and foremost, limit your risk, right? Get into a conditional agreement, an escrow kind of agreement, and then you need to take a look at what the aesthetic is of your community and make sure that you're not going to do something that's really going to be out of character with that. There is what I would call a lack of, in some respects, what I would call a lack of manners, as we call it in our culture. But it is important to actually directly engage people. Have a representative talk to the people in your immediate environment or your immediate proposed environment and say, listen, here's what we plan to do. Is this something that you think is going to be very problematic for you? What are the concerns that you have? I think there is often this perspective that because we are bringing jobs, because we are bringing something that's new and flashy, that it should be accepted by everyone. And if it isn't accepted, well, tough luck. That's a very poor attitude. And it doesn't speak to the social fabric, the way that communities interact within themselves. I think that has to be respected.
You mentioned a key word there, jobs, employment. It's usually one of the key highlights of a lot of development projects, whether it's local or foreign direct investment. What weight does the number of jobs have in a community versus the things you mentioned, the intrinsic value, the community networking and relationships? What weight do you feel employment numbers have?
So jobs are not unimportant, right? Jobs are important, but jobs are one of the worst barometers of long-term benefit, right? We have a situation in our country where a lot of the industries that we work in, we don't own. And in a lot of respects, development end up being the same way. Construction developments where, and I'll be honest, in this day and time, not even a lot of jobs go to the Bahamians, right? We have, as they would call, skilled tradesmen coming in from a lot of places. So I think jobs are a very poor barometer of how beneficial a development is going to be to a community. When you think about a development in a community, you have to think about, one, who are the financiers? So our Bahamians, our people that are part of that community, are part of the financier group. Because if they aren't a part of that group, that means when there is a return on that investment, that return on investment isn't resident here. The second thing is, who is buying into this new development? Is it going to be people who share similar values to the existing community? And then thirdly, how does this how does this development impact the way that the rest of, we would call it, the broader community interacts with this smaller neighborhood, right? There are going to be things that happen. Are we prepared for things like the way that the traffic patterns change in this community? Are we prepared for the way that the people who come to this community, because there is a reality that there are certain kinds of events, all of these things that have to now be taken into account based on what kind of development happens in your community.
So most persons, say the everyday person, when they learn about a development, it's either, let's say when the construction is kicking off, or they might see a poster for a public meeting. But there is a process, and there are various government agencies that have their processes for how a development actually gets approved and kicks off. Let's just chat briefly about the process that developers would have to go through to get their project off the ground.
Well, the recommended process is, one, you would engage in, again, some sort of low-risk agreement to acquire a parcel, right? If you don't already have it. Some developers already have it, but if you don't have a parcel, again, you engage in some kind of low-risk agreement, terms of an escrow agreement, a conditional sale agreement. You would make your application for an approval in principle to the Department of Physical Planning or the town planning. Once you would have that document in hand, it is recommended that you engage the community and say, listen, here is what I am, particularly your immediate neighbors. That's the recommended way. A lot of developers don't do that. Again, it's their choice to do that, but it is recommended that you do so, because before you spend a lot of money, even on the architectural design and so forth, it's good to know exactly where people stand, how the people that are immediately next to you are going to feel about what it is that you're doing, right? Once that's done, you have approval in principle, you've gotten your feedback, you've made your adjustments, you would obviously submit for your final approval. A part of the final approval process is, as you said, the public consultation, where there are going to be meetings depending on the size of your project. There's sometimes what they call an environmental assessment that has to be done. Sometimes there's also a traffic impact assessment that has to be done. All of those items should be prepared before you submit for your final review and the public consultation, so that the persons that are part of the general public can actually see what it is that has been done. And it should be done, those assessments, the environmental assessment and the traffic assessment, should be done by independent qualified third parties. Yeah. But once folk have had the opportunity to review that, they would obviously say what their perspectives are, whether they are for or against. Sometimes there are no objections. Other times there are lots of objections. But again, that is a part of the process that is a good thing that we now have with regard to public engagement.
There definitely is a process, and many government agencies involved that interact with one another to make sure the projects are properly vetted before getting approval. So if I'm somebody that lives in a community and there's a project that's happening around that I am opposed to, what are some of the avenues in which I can express my opposition?
Well, interestingly enough, a lot of people don't do this, but it may simply be your first point of communication may be to actually reach out directly to the developer or the developer's representative, right? Again, in our society today, we are in a lot of respects lacking what, again, our elders would say, our manners, right? Simply reach out and say, listen, I have some concerns about what it is that you're doing. List them off, and you may be surprised how receptive a developer may be to that concern. Another thing is obviously to reach out to the Department of Physical Planning, Town Planning, and say, listen, I hear that you either have a application before you or there's an approval in principle that's been given. Here are my concerns. Sometimes it's good to reach out to your member of parliament. I think we have this idea in our country that members of parliament are omniscient, that they know everything that's happening in their constituency. The reality is they are humans just like me and you. Sometimes they honestly don't know, and they have not had a chance to consider all of the impacts from both sides, right? Both perspectives. So you reach out, and then obviously if there's an opportunity for people to do petitions where you get a number of the people in your area to sign on and say, these are our issues, we all have this concern and this concern needs to be addressed, or we flat out don't want this to come. And once you get to the final stage, or at least the final review stage, people can participate and make their feelings known in the public engagement process. Normally there's some kind of what you would call meeting that these days seems to happen over Zoom or some other kind of virtual platform. So again, there are many avenues for persons to express their concerns or disapproval or whatever it is that they may feel about a project.
So there's some concerns people have that are genuine. There's some that has to do related to the environment. There are other concerns or opposition that may come in that may be guided by ulterior motives. It might be unfair to a developer or a project. In what instances do you see that, and how does a developer respond to that?
So excellent. So one of the things that we have to do is, while a developer has what we would call a responsibility to be mindful of what we would call the existing community. The existing community also has a responsibility to not be what we would call necessarily antagonistic, unnecessarily antagonistic. You have some persons that simply don't want other people around. Like, we've always only had 10 houses in this area. We don't want any more, right? That's not a realistic approach to have. Also, if the building code and the area has what we would call pre-existing structures that are similar to what the developer is proposing, it's nothing against the code or regulations, but we just don't want you to be able to do it. Obviously, that's an improper thing. Right. So in respect of that, I think we have to be sensible as a people, and our regulators in the building space have to pretty much shut down those kinds of objections really on the face of them. Because again, somebody should not be denied an opportunity for profiting just because, you know, you don't like it or you don't like me.
Exactly. Brother Mackey, we've had a great conversation this morning. Unfortunately, we got to run.
Absolutely.
I feel like we could talk all day about this very important discussion.
Indeed.
And we appreciate your insight as always. And we look forward to chatting with you again. But thanks for coming on, talking about developments and how these developers can really get into the community and assimilate to make true, long-lasting impact. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me, Mark.
Always appreciate you. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back. I want to say Karlos.
Here are 3 young people who stopped attending high school and got disengaged in their educational journey due to the pandemic. Today, they are proudly taking their walk all over the place because they took advantage of BTVI's Smart Start initiative. All high school students in New Providence and the Family Islands can participate in free hands-on learning to improve employability. Learn basic literacy and numeracy skills and earn a BTVI certificate in automotive mechanics, beauty and construction trades, or fashion in only 14 weeks for full-time participants or 24 weeks for part-time. Don't count yourself out. Do what they did and enroll today. Email smartstart@btvi.edu.ds or call 502-6300 so you can take your walk anywhere in life.
Focal Holdings Limited is proud of its consistent growth and the financial success it continues to bring to many Bahamians who invest in the company. Focal is committed to ensuring optimal financial performance for its shareholders. Focal's leadership remains focused on superior customer service and operational excellence across all sectors. Focal.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
Welcome back. The 27th annual Red Ribbon Ball is happening this coming Saturday, November 4th, and is even bigger and better this year. Here to tell us all about it are Lady Camille Barnett, President of the Bahamas AIDS Foundation, and Arame Ford-Strachan, Board Member of the Bahamas AIDS Foundation. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
And welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you.
So the Red Ribbon Ball, I feel like needs very little introduction.
No.
It is really one of the highlights of the social season. But every year, you manage to make it more and more exciting. So I'll start with you, Lady Barnett. What is the theme for this year's ball?
The theme is 1001 Arabian Nights. And I know that's captivating to people, like what is the connection between the 1001 Arabian Nights stories and the ball? Well, the stories, there are 1001 stories, and the stories deal with perseverance and challenge and resilience and hope. And those are some of the same qualities that people who live with HIV and AIDS need to have if they're going to survive. They've got to be strong. They have to have grit. They have to have courage. And so that's why and of course the theme is exciting as well, because there are 1001 stories and every person living with HIV and AIDS has their own story. So that's the connection between the 1001 Arabian Nights and the HIV/AIDS situation in the Bahamas.
I love how you were able to marry just a really significant meaning with a theme that just sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait just to see, how that plays out in terms of the decor. Are you all building it into your wardrobe, the theme for the event?
I'm not.
I did.
There are those that are doing that, and hats off to them. But it is a ball, and we welcome everybody to come out, in what you're comfortable in, right? But this year is going to be, I know every year we say it's going to be the best ever, but we've had 3 years in the workshop, right? We've not had a ball since 2019 for obvious reasons because of the pandemic, and we've depleted a lot of our funds, and so we really wanted to make this large and exciting and as brilliant as we could imagine. So we have wildflowers decorating the room. I understand Natalie bought in 2 containers, 40-foot containers with, the blown glass and all of the colors. The room is going to be brilliant. We have Zaymar handling the sound. They always do a great job. We have Essence Band at the cocktail reception and Falcon as the house band. We have a featured theme-centered entertainment segment during the ball, right? Middle Eastern, Moroccan entertainment segment. So the people that attend the ball this year are going to be blown away. I'd be remiss if I not mention the prizes that we will have. So we're going to do raffle. We won't do a silent auction this year, so come out with your credit cards and your cash. We will have prizes, but our prizes are bundled. So we have the survival package, which is BPL, water and sewage, sun oil, gas, food, and an AID voucher. We have the dining or foodie bundle, which is like Wild Time, Great Cliff, a bunch of really nice Aquafire, a bunch of really nice restaurants around the island. We have an Exuma Escape, Grand Isles and Sandals Exuma. We have, help me out here. The grand prize though, Commonwealth Brewery is providing Santa Margarita wines for the ball, and the grand prize will be a trip to Italy, Tuscany, Italy, at the Santa Margarita Vineyard. And John Bull will provide luggage. Of course, John Bull is a big supporter. They will also provide packages of every department in their repertoire. So jewelry, luggage, perfume, makeup, whatever you can think about, John Bull is going to have it there. So we're really looking forward to an exciting night.
So this sounds like an event that nobody would want to miss.
No.
But we were speaking a little bit during the break, and a little birdie told me if you're hoping to get in, you have to find someone who already has tickets. How have ticket sales been?
Fantastic. We are over the moon with the sales. The room is going to be full.
Yep.
Full of excited people who are just thrilled to be there. And we, of course, are delighted to have them.
What does that say to you that Monday, the week of the ball, there are no tickets left for sale? What does that say about, I guess, the branding and just the reputation of the Red Ribbon Ball?
Yes. I've been saying the ball is back. and I don't have to say which ball because everybody knows what ball I'm talking about. Because we are the premier ball in the Bahamas. And people know that, and they know, and of course they know it's for a good cause. They know it's the Bahamas AIDS Foundation, and they know they have a great time. And they know there are not a lot of speeches. I talk for 5 minutes the most, and then we just hit the dance floor, and that's it. It's a party.
It's a backyard
It's a party.
disguised as an opulent event.
Yes.
So you get all dressed up, but
Yes.
it's an absolute party.
Yes.
You know, I'm privy to some of the information just from a Zamora perspective, and as everyone was discussing it, they were like, well, we're not doing too much just in terms of video because we know that the Red Ribbon Ball is all about dancing, getting everyone on the dance floor immediately.
The get from Atlanta's great staff is when they go to serve the tables, there's nobody there.
Everyone
is on the dance floor. And it's going to be at Atlanta's Grand Ballroom. I didn't mention that. They always do a great job. The cocktail reception starts at 7. The ball starts promptly at 8. We do not wait for anyone. We open the doors at 8 and we party until they start to turn the lights off on us.
Now we know, of course, again, this is a fabulous party, but it's really for a fabulous cause. Can you speak to the work of the Bahamas AIDS Foundation and how that impacts so many people?
Yes, exactly. We have a program, an outreach program with children and adolescents. And that was one of our biggest programs before COVID. And then COVID came along and we had to pull back on some of the things. But at the end of the day, we're there to support the young persons. We have a social worker. They have access to a social worker. They have access to psychological counseling. We even had academic tutors for them. We feed them. Before COVID, we fed them 5 days a week. We gave them a hot meal before they came to us after school. We gave them a hot meal. Then COVID came along and we had to switch gears. So what we started doing was delivering groceries to the homes. And of course now, instead of feeding one child, you're feeding the whole family. So that's a program that we've continued because food security is still very much an issue in the Bahamas. So we are delivering groceries to them once a week, and every 2 weeks we get a hot meal provided by the Lord's Kitchen, which is attached to the Greek Orthodox Church. So we're still providing the food for them. Before COVID, we started going out to the family islands, and we made a commitment that we would go to 5 islands every year. And we've started back again, and we've done 4 already, and we've got 1 more to go. And in 2024, we intend to continue to do 5. So we go to islands that people often don't get to. We've been to Inagua. We went down to, well, of course, we did Exuma, we did Bimini, Harbor Island, etc. So that what we want to do, especially if this ball is as successful as we think it's going to be, is to do more education and awareness in the community among all different groups within the country.
Well, I am sure that all of the patrons who come out, including myself, this weekend are going to be more than willing to just donate and to celebrate once again such a worthy cause.
This Saturday, we just invite you to open your hearts and your wallets, bring your credit cards because you may run out of cash because the prizes are tremendous. And you're going to love it. We even have a package for wall art, right? Wall candy with a lot of art pieces around the island. So you don't want to miss this ball. If you miss this ball, your friends are going to talk about you. And if you've not been fortunate enough to get a ticket, well, catch us early next year.
Absolutely.
We'll be back.
Absolutely.
I just want to say congratulations on what I know will be another successful ball, and of course, just the incredible work that you continue to do every day.
Can I just take a second to talk about Dr. Perry Gomez, who died recently? He is a national hero. He was, at a time when people were afraid to deal with HIV-positive patients, he was there in the fight. And he sacrificed a lot because many of his other patients wouldn't come to him because they called him the AIDS doctor. And he has been in the fight for many, many years. And we're very saddened by his loss. The country has lost a national hero.
Yes,
absolutely. And we would can extend our condolences to everyone who knew him, who received care from him, and who loved him. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us this morning. I personally look forward to seeing you this weekend. And congratulations to all of you who do have tickets to the Red Ribbon Ball, and condolences to all of you who don't. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
you want from a cloud solution? You want flexibility and edge? You want to modernize applications with the ability to deliver new ones with lightning speed. You want an infrastructure that's automated, secure, cost-effective, and scalable. You want to give the end user the freedom they want with the control you need. You can't get all that from just any cloud. You need something better. You need Bahamas Cloud. Contact the experts today at 601-8911 in Nassau or 602-8811 in the Family Islands.
What a way to start the week. We've had such an incredible show today. Got to talk about so many exciting things, important things, and fun things.
Yeah, fun is being the most important because we work hard, so you got to play hard too, right? So there's a lot of playing over the weekend. We're going to work this week, and then we got another weekend to play. See y'all at the Red Ribbon Ball, and what else is happening?
Oh, I mean, that's all I know.
Yeah, that's all that's happening.
I'll be
See
there.
y'all at the ball. If you could get in, if you ain't got no ticket, ooh, sorry for you.
You gotta
But
call
thanks for
your
being
friend
on.
who
Yeah.
knows somebody who might have a table.
Exactly. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Earth Day to Sister Towerette. Namaste, my sister. More blessings, more laps around the sun. Enjoy your week, everybody. See you on Friday.